Yeah, okay. It is 6:30 and we will open the October 28th meeting of the Billwood Conservation Commission. This meeting is available using the Zoom application for public comments and questions with a time limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Thank you. And if you'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Staff present this evening, Isabel Totonis, Mike DeVito, and Christina Bernard. Commission members present this evening, Joanne Giovanno, Diane DePasso, myself, Bill Mullins, Jack Bowen, Jeff Cannell, Christine Harris, and Tom Nelson. Now, are there any comments, questions, or concerns not pertaining to any items on tonight's agenda, either in person or online? Okay, so we will get started. And yeah, 6:32. First item is Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Billerica Wetlands Protection Bylaw wetland hearing. Request to amend order of conditions, public hearing, 315 and 317 Pebble Cove Road. Applicant Dean Atkins Northbridge Partners. DEP file number 109-1557, BBL 1557.
Commission, good evening. My name is Todd Warren, with the Associates. With him here this evening is Matthew Costa from our office, as well as Jeff Sullivan from Northbridge Partners. So as noted, we're here to present a request for an amendment to an order of conditions. You look up your computer, is that? For 315 and 317 Treble Cove Road. If you recall, we were here, I think we wrapped it up several months ago now, receiving an order of condition for a project that featured 3 buildings, some interior loading and utility floaters, as well as an access drive. One of the reasons that we were here is we were filling 2 isolated wetland pockets. We had also proposed a reconstruction and replication of a fairly large wetland complex, and we had worked within the riverfront as well as some buffers under there. Once we get our presentation all squared away and up on the screen for you, the proposal consolidates 2 of the buildings into a single building, so we're knocking the project down to 2 buildings. There is a slight increase in square footage of the buildings. However, there's a fairly significant decrease in the amount of impervious area on the project site, as well as a decrease in the amount of work within the buffer zone and within the riverfront. We would still be proposing the same fill in the 2 isolated wetlands, but we're maintaining the same amount of replication there. So we haven't changed our mitigation at all. The mitigation package remains identical to what we had worked with the commission on before, including all the details of the construction and all the plantings. Everything is identical, but we have reduced the impacts.
Just we need a cord for it. Go forwards to.
You need a cord?
Yeah. Well, let's go.
She's got some.
Yeah. My hiking trip last year.
Oh, sweet.
No.
There's the pictures, wow.
We increased the landscape. I'm gonna kill you with this. Good screen. On the screen. Not really well tech. Focus. Just to refresh, the project site is here outlined in yellow, just off of Treble Cove Road. Here's Route 3, skewing across here. Winning Pond is almost directly across from the driveway entrance. Several years ago, this building was developed and constructed here on the corner. And this is a carve-off parcel from the Lantheus campus. And what's out there today is an existing office building located right there, another office building here. And there was formerly an office building right here in the middle with a lot of associated parking. That third office building that I mentioned has since been demolished, but a lot of the parking remains. This is what the site looked like in May of 2023, which is really about when we started our review of the project site. You can see again, the driveway comes in. They had extended this piece of driveway up to meet the road to Lantheus. There are the two office buildings that remain. This was the location of the office building that was torn down, parking here. This ring road comes around and then back out towards the Lantheus campus. Also, just to refresh your memory on the natural resources, there are a considerable amount of things that were mapped. We had gone through an ORAD process, completed a peer review. Two isolated wetland pockets here that are proposed to be filled. We also have Dolly Brook, which runs down through towards Winning Pond. So there's a room front area that's associated with that. And there's also bordering vegetated wetland that's associated with Dolly Brook all the way down through. We also have floodplain on this property as well. So we received the ORAD back in December of 2022. Site plan review and special permit, as well as the order of conditions, were received during the summer of 2024. Board of Health stormwater permit, we closed that meeting in August of 2024. And then there's some ongoing sidewalk. If you recall at the last minute, there was a request from the planning board, and we talked to you folks about a little bit about extending a sidewalk from our driveway down towards the Lantheus campus. Where it impacted you on the commission is that we had to cross over the brook alongside Treble Cove Road. So it actually increased our limit of work by about 3 feet as we go across that culvert. Not a lot of impact, but technically there was some additional impact at that point. So there's some minor details that are being looked at still by Public Works that have to do with some curb tie-ins down on the Lantheus end. Nothing across the culvert is up for any more debate. We came back and submitted this package to you towards the end of March of this year, and then that brings us to where we are today. Again, this is the originally approved site plan that we discussed with you as well. And Board of Health, again, it was 2 buildings with a third building up front, interior loading and utility corridors, parking field here to support building A, and another parking field back here to support building B. Access drive that comes in, loops around into the back. We'd originally had a connection here, but we took that out during our work with you folks to try to cut down some of the work that was in the buffer. If you also recall, we moved this road that runs parallel to the property line down towards the buildings a little bit more, and we narrowed it up from the original 30 feet down to 24 feet. Brought it down, I believe, an extra 4 feet, so we picked up about 10 feet of additional green space that had previously been taken. The project that we're proposing now looks like this. Looks very similar on the face of it. Really the main concept is we took these 2 back buildings, turned them into one. This parking field really didn't move. This parking field actually came this way a little bit because we changed the shape of that building slightly. Narrowed this up just a little bit because we didn't need quite as much room in between them. So that allowed us to bring this forward. What we did along this edge, and we'll get into a detail on that in a minute, is there was a retaining wall right on that buffer. So we come off the parking, drop down a retaining wall, and then we're in the buffer. What we propose now in the current plans is to actually slope that off instead of putting a retaining wall in and add a little bit more vegetation in there. So there's, instead of having a structural wall to the buffer, we prefer a slope. It's a little bit easier to build, first of all, but it also gives us the opportunity to vegetate that area more than you could if you just had a retaining. So here's a plan. If you look, you gotta look at this one a little bit carefully, just because of the overlay. The main color plan in the background is the project that had been previously approved. These red lines, as you come through here, are the impervious limits of the new project. So you can see, you come through the roadway, there's no change on this roadway all the way through. So this roadway into this back parking lot doesn't change at all. This roadway does not change at all. Where you see the change, and where I mentioned it, is right on this edge as you come up through. So this would be our proposed edge of pavement here instead of over here. So we pulled it back out of the wetland buffer and out of the riverfront area. We've also included on this slide, as well as in your materials in your book, this table, which really goes through the various impacts and what we've changed on it. The net change in riverfront impervious area in the riverfront is minus 9,685 square feet. Impervious area in the buffer, we're minus 15,617 square feet. Overall impervious area, this is site-wide now, we're minus 25,763 feet. We lose one parking space, we add 8,000 square feet of building. But that 8,000 is included in that minus 25. That's where we end up on the project. Here's a little bit more of a zoomed in version. I think you can see a little bit better now where this red line comes as opposed to where it was before. Okay. And again, even though those impacts have increased in some of these areas, we haven't changed the mitigation package of it. The mitigation package remains as it was. Where did we reduce the disturbances? Here's just a quick graphic that we put together to show where those reductions are. These are just disturbance reductions. These aren't necessarily impervious reductions. This is change in disturbance. We had a 2,800 square feet reduction here, about a 3,500 square foot reduction there. And then these are the impervious reductions, 12,980 here, and another 2,823 over on that side. And then this is, again, another graphic that's repeated in the book that you have, reductions in impervious area in the riverfront area. This blue shows the 11,500 or so square feet of reduced impervious. And then we did add a little bit just by changing where we changed parking lots, just for the configuration of the access in there. So there's a plus 1,868. Landscaping plan really remains the same from here back. Where we changed it significantly is right along this area here, as you get closest to the buffer in that riverfront area. As you can see, instead of having just a retaining wall, shoot right down, we've added quite a few trees and shrubs in through this whole area. And then again, like I said, this was that wetland replication area, blue crosshatch. If there's any discussion, again, this is in your book, but this is the summary of the impacts, which I think probably tells the majority of the story that's trying to there. That.
Isabel,
Quick question, where is that summary in the packet? Did you buy it?
The summary, page 5.
So They submitted a detailed request to amend the existing order of conditions. As Tom went through it, the majority, well, all of them are unimpacts, and the mitigation is the same. It will, you submitted to the planning board already?
Yes, we have.
You did?
Yep.
Have you gone to a meeting already?
We have not. We were there in 2 weeks.
Okay. So we're coordinating with the planning department to secure a peer reviewer. Ideally, we'd like to secure a recent peer reviewer. That conducted the peer review for Lexington Road. But we're working on that right now, and we'll have more information for you on that, hopefully within the next couple of days. So that needs a full, stormwater peer review, since some of the counts have changed. So with regards to wetland impacts, we reviewed the information previously, and it's a slight reduction in, impacts to resource areas. The site remains flagged, and that's really all.
Joanne, questions?
Just to, thank you, this is very comprehensive, and I appreciate it, the information. Just for the retaining wall is coming down, and you had a landscaping page, but, so you can find it, great. Where is the, no alteration zone and your signage in that area?
It doesn't show up on the landscape drawing. It does show up on the project plans.
Well, I guess my point is it now included in that area or not?
We had a chain link fence right around the back edge of the, edge of pavement, and that has signage posted on it.
Oh, I know.
It's very alteration.
Okay, so on the original order of conditions, did we consider during the litigation, that was all going to be the no alteration zone? Some areas were greater than, I guess we did 25 on this one. Is that correct?
Yes, it's greater than 25. Lantheus required a fence around their property for their own security, so we just put it around our kind of pavement line and around our stormwater basin, so it acts as both the disturbance boundary and that.
So it would come right up on this is the new site plan.
Yeah.
It would come right up this edge here.
Okay,
Instead of
so-
being,
And that's where the signage will be.
it would be on we'd actually put it on the fence.
um,
To save us from having pavement, then a fence, and then down the hill, more signs.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So
it
actually,
makes more sense to put it on.
when I looked at that landscaping one, then the new landscaping is actually gonna be considered part of our protected area.
It will be beyond the fence, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. I wanna make sure that's clear on the plan. So if there isn't a note or something, I mean, you say there is something, it says the fence will have the signage. Usually we'll show a note that says visual barrier. We don't necessarily have to know what it is at this point, but visual barrier and
Yeah,
signage.
we can coordinate that with the
Yeah,
landscape
just
plan,
make
that's
sure
fine.
that's on it, so we know. I'm happy to be picking up extra vegetated space. I just wanna make sure that it's there, because I can't remember, we don't have the variances on this one, I'm sure, because you're doing replication work and all that, so I just wanna make sure that is captured. If we give the variance, that now that's gonna be captured in that, that area. So if it's in here, maybe, but some.
Page 32.
Okay.
Image of it as well. The whole section on the zone protection.
All right, I think it
31.
was probably in here, there's a, but in any case.
Oh, man, awesome. Yeah, associates.
Okay, that's great, I just wanna make sure it's there, so we'll know it's there, and there'll be no dispute about it. in the
Yeah,
future.
and your boy's taken, we should probably make sure it's on the drawings as well, just to make sure the contractor actually puts that.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of the signage on it, but maybe not, again, like I said, it has to be, I want it to be designated as the visual barrier with the signage.
Correct.
Very good. And then I did read in here, I just want to make sure I'm confirming it, I remember, this has been bought now by someone new, it's not the original applicant, is that, it is the original? Yeah, it's good. So when we were talking about the parking spaces, and we didn't have to pave them, and we had a nice discussion, and we were,
Yeah.
I was very happy with your answers. And that's how we kind of conditioned you went through the planning board and they were amenable to that too. Yeah.
Jeffrey Sullivan, with Northern Partners. That's our same plan. There's no intention to change anything other than that second building.
Very good.
For a variety of reasons.
And that was really nice, you know, I like your point of view and because it agreed with me. So,
And we've closed, we have every intention of making a commitment here, so this is something that we're throwing at the wall, so.
Yeah,
This is to try to improve our plan.
I read it, I just want to make sure
Of
that
course.
it's on the record that.
Yeah.
Thanks, well, that's
It's good
very
for all of us, I think it's the
Yeah.
right thing to do.
I appreciate, as probably know, if you drive around town and see a lot of these technology parks or whatever, there's so much parking space that's not used because of the way businesses have changed, so.
Yeah.
So thank you. And I don't think we need to update the variance request at all, it doesn't appear to. So I think that was it. Thank you very much, Bill.
Okay, Diane?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a clarification, this is the 50-foot mill operation, so you said 25.
Well, I wasn't sure if this,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we had that on the record. And, yeah, the parking was one of my questions too, so again, to get it on the record that if we don't need it, you won't pave it. Are you building these buildings on speculation, or do you have a
That's
tenant in
the
mind?
intent, and frankly, part of why we're going towards the two building is the tenants that we are seeing weren't really fitting for that 57,000 foot two buildings. They were flexing up or they were whole building users. Building those two buildings speculatively would have probably been delayed. We would do both single buildings, both buildings in parallel at the same time would be our intention. It just complicates things when we have the three without a known party in the others.
Yeah,
It's a
understand.
strange grading. When you all walk out there, feels like it's sort of flat. It's not. So,
Surprisingly not.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. O&M plan, stormwater management plan, I know they're not in here. Did we get updated versions of them?
yes.
Okay.
Matt Casa, they should have been, provided. I think there was copies.
Did we get them?
Oh, the O and M was just updated for the,
There, I mean, there's a tab for it, but there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And there's a tab, you know, under separate cover and then,
It's on the.
I think I can make sure when we deliver, we can send more copies. Like,
okay, yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, the update stormwater reports about that.
I don't really want
So
that
we divide
part of
it a
it.
little bit separate.
Yeah, I don't need to see all the numbers and all that. I just want to see, you know, the O and M plan, and I remember going through it the previous time, but with the new proposal, it's good to take a look at it again. I would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
it's very similar to the original, just a lot of not a lot, but some of the locations have changed as far as some of the underground stormwater features.
Okay, good. And snow storage for the change in the parking, that's also something we'd want to see. I'm taking just thunder. But did that change at all?
I don't believe it did.
it did not.
Yeah, and, you know, the fact that the peer review was on my list, and I think besides that, I'm all set. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jack?
The retaining wall, you're removing and putting a slope in, what's gonna cover the slope, what kind of an angle is the slope?
Slope is a 3-to-1 slope, 3 horizontal to 1 vertical.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be covered with grass, probably a conservation mix, and then several different species of trees.
So it won't be mowed.
It would not be mowed.
On site.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay, Christine?
The reason for the removal of the retaining wall, I thought retaining walls are more expensive than slope. And slope requires maintenance over the time. Unless you are planning to extend parking lot. I
Yeah.
can't think of any other reason.
So the reason to remove the retaining wall versus the planted slope is it actually keeps the same limit of disturbance on that edge. But instead of having a hard surface built feature, vertical feature, it just allows us to put a more naturalized slope in there and introduce the plantings in that zone as well. So I think in the long run, it's a no maintenance slope, as I noted, we're gonna plant it with the conservation mix for grasses, and then put the trees and shrubs in there. The idea is that over time, we don't go in, we mow it. It's protected by a chain link fence, so that'll take care of any trash or debris blowing in that area.
But the reason for retaining wall, maybe there is a landsliding, small retaining walls are big subjects and very expensive, not that many people.
Yeah, I would hope there's no landsliding
What's
because
the
of the end of our parking.
existing, like, what's the existing retaining wall? that
Oh,
shows-
there isn't an existing one. There's no retaining wall there today.
That's fine.
No, our original plan had the parking lot coming out and then a retaining wall coming
Oh,
down.
the original plan is proposed retaining wall, you actually.
Correct.
That's the one.
And we've eliminated that because now our parking is back here. So instead of having a vertical wall here, we're gonna slope it down.
Understand now. Where is the stockpiling area during this construction?
You have those on the.
They're noted on the phased erosion control plans, mostly interior to the site outside of the buffer zones. And the riparian zone.
And is there any fire truck turning point? When-
Yep, we've worked with the fire department on this, the original time, and I'm sure they'll comment to the planning board on this. Fire trucks would come in, they can navigate this parking lot, they can pull in here and navigate through here, or they can come all the way around and navigate this
Okay.
side.
Well, I'm just thinking.
Okay, Tom?
I'm all set, thank you.
No, I think was everything answered, the no storage didn't move. And we still have everything pretty much the same in there. I didn't have anything beyond that, so. Anyone questions, comments from the audience? Anyone online? Okay,
All right, and I know you're going to the planning, but I think they said the 12th down there or something.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks.
All right, so, and we have to try to coordinate a peer review with the planning board, and I don't know if it's the board of health too, but.
Yeah, it's a streamlined review, they'll need a stormwater
Okay,
permit as well, so we'll do that with the DPW Board of Health.
right, so we have a meeting on the 12th, but I don't know if this could be turned around that quickly. So,
No,
no, I don't think, so the next one, because of the holiday, might influence me is the 28th. So I'll make it May 28th. I make a motion that we continue the hearing, for a request to amend an order of conditions for 315 and 317 Pleasant Cove Road, file number 1091557 and DBL 1557 to May 28th.
Second.
all in favor?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, something to say something. That's probably.
Sure, our technology is gonna be perfect.
Coming down.
Went early.
Yeah, one of them said.
Like I said, I think.
That's how
Oh, no, for everybody.
Yeah, I didn't get that from him, but I heard it down there.
Full stormwater report.
Yes, you should have. We're good.
I didn't hear him say remote, I just get. What we're doing.
And it's 6 P.M., second item.
Thanks.
Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Building
Thank-
Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetland Hearing Notice of Intent. Continued public hearing, 121 Lexington Road, applicant Town of Billerica. DEP file number 1091591, BPL 1591.
There we go. Good evening, I'm Marissa Valentino from Niche Engineering. I'm here to present for the Billerica Recreation Center. The last time we were before you was the end of January. And I just wanted to present, kind of where the project has been since that point. I will note that we did resubmit materials today, so I know that nobody has had a chance to even look at them yet, and we're still submitting, we still have the hard copies. But I just wanted to walk you through the project revisions and what has happened since January, so that you could comment on anything that came up. So this plan was what we presented in January, so it's the proposed recreation center in the center of the site. There's a parking lot located to the south. And then future courts located right in this area here with, a future parking lot in this area on the north side of the site. Since January, we've been working with DPW, all the various town departments and the third parties peer reviewer, and addressing those comments. So some of the items that have come out of those comments were, there's an existing culvert that's located right about here. That culvert was video inspected as part of the demolition of the binding school, but just to right about where this point is, where my mouse is, which is in between the 25 and 50-foot buffer zone. DPW did video inspect the remainder of the line and determined it was in decent condition. We have added, because there is a bend in the line, a manhole structure. There is an existing manhole structure at that bend, but nobody can find it at this point, so it's definitely buried under a whole bunch of debris and everything on the site, so our plans are now calling out for that to be raised to the surface, so it can be continually maintained, so I will say there is some additional work within the 25 to 50, but that is just to raise that structure to the surface to allow it to be maintained in the future. Additional items that we've added, we've kind of split up the plans between phase 1 and phase 2. So what you're seeing before you is what we're calling phase 1, which is the work that would begin if permits were granted this summer. So some of the revisions that happened, we were able to bring some of the stormwater from subsurface systems to a surface infiltration basin, which is located at the southwest side of the site. We're still implementing that fire retention basin, is what I just highlighted. And the existing catch basin, which is kind of in the middle of the field, which captures a lot of the runoff from Lexington Road. We work with DPW and determined that we'll keep that catch basin to maintain the drainage patterns from Lexington Road during this first phase. Then in the future phases, which I think is contingent on funding and everything when this would happen, but we wanted to include it in our stormwater permit and in the notice of intent would include a subsurface infiltration basin. This is the chamber system. This was previously on the plans as a line detention system. As part of the cost exercises, the site was raised to allow some additional fill to remain on site. And that allows for additional infiltration because there's less cut on the site. One of the other items is when, kind of right where my mouse is, this is the court area. And then up here is the parking. When these two elements are built, in order to prevent water from Lexington Road from just sheet flowing onto these two elements, we would propose to install sediment forebay and then a water quality swale with some rain guardians to just capture that runoff from Lexington Road and still continue to discharge it out the back where it's going today. Additionally, some of these drainage and revisions were impacted by some further design of site elements. This oval area you're seeing at the bottom left is a refined playground and splash pad area. the landscape architect was working with the recreation department and manufacturers, and this type of layout was more desired, so we were able to shift our infiltration system. I'm not sure what happened there. We shifted our infiltration system outside of that area. To allow for some flexibility with foundation design, or, you know, if any of those parts end up changing. The splash pad drainage, we have included in the report that I know you have not seen yet, the splash pad drainage, which will be discharging to that infiltration basin. I know some of the comments we received at the last hearing were related to this culvert. We also received some comments about additional wetland flagging, so, wetland scientist was out on site and provided an extension of the wetland lines to the north. So you'll see that. Yeah. Sure what's happening. So you'll see that up there, and then additionally, they were able to flag, the stream that's located on the other side of the culvert, as an intermittent stream. We are not disturbing or, anticipating any work in that area, but it was flagged for the record. There was also a comment about additional planting, so the landscape architect has added some additional native plantings within the buffer zone and adjacent to that infiltration basin, both in number and variety of species. And a post and rail fence is now proposed at the 25-foot buffer, and that's where the wetland signs will be placed. So like I said, our intention is, we resubmitted materials today, and you know, we would love to come before you again at the May meeting.
Just that we received the materials today, hard copies are forthcoming, and those will be distributed to the commission as part of the next meeting materials. And we're coordinating with the peer reviewer to hopefully conclude the stormwater peer review.
Thank you. Yes, I have not had a chance to look at this, of course. We will, so I'm just going by what you said. This, that's the splash pad and the playground area. And did you say that's a surface retention area now?
Yep, yeah, so that's a surface, it's, will be grass and movable.
So when do you, well, just so you, I don't, I guess, get into one discussion, but how long will there be standing water in it?
Sure, so there'll be standing water less than 3 days. I believe it's less than a day. It is in the stormwater report. I can get back to you on that. And I know that we did, there is gonna be a fence around the splash
That's my
pad
question.
playground
It
area,
really
so
isn't even,
for safety,
yeah,
yes.
conservation, but that would be a very attractive nuisance to children. And I'd say hopefully the parents aren't watching, but kids move fast.
Understood.
So that took my attention, so there'll be a note on here, and there'll be some sort of thing.
Yeah, it's on, I can look to it. It's on the landscape plan.
Oh,
that
that's
there's a
fine,
fence,
that's
so-
fine, like I
Okay.
said, I haven't looked at them, and so it's probably,
Yeah, no
I just, when you said it, my mind went, that was there, and as far as the swale that's going along Lexington Road.
Yep.
You said it will continue to go back to the wetlands where it did. How?
Sure, so the swale works, it's a grassline swale, so water will run off from Lexington Road, will either enter into the sediment forebay or via these two stone channels. And then there's an overflow towards the end of the swale with an area drain that will be piped.
Underground to the back.
Yeah, yeah, through, and then it will connect into, this existing outlet.
Okay, well, I'll wait and look at all that, and I know, you know, we're still going back and forth with peer review. Yeah, I'm still a little iffy about the above ground system. And the other one is too, right? I'm back to my original point, so
No, it's okay.
those two, the other one next to it, above it is also a surface area.
Yes, yep, that is a surface area, and that is a bioretention area that has, cascading cells, and it's designed to kind of mimic the wetland area, or just kind of fill in and grow in with plantings and provide stormwater mitigation, but also, treatment for the stormwater.
Okay, all right. Right now, that issue is probably not really wetland, thinking of the use of the property, but thank you, Bill.
Diane, any questions?
Yeah, the swale along the road, so the, connection to the drainage system goes between, to the north of the building.
Yes.
So will the part that's to the south of the building, does that get pitched so that it goes?
Yeah, I think, yes, so the end of the swale's right about here, and then this section is actually gonna be draining to this catch basin.
Okay. Over, along the surface or? up
Along
height?
the surface, yeah,
Okay.
and so everything, if you can see my mouse,
Yeah.
from here north is really the majority of the roadway, and then everything here is just grass surface runoff, so the intention is for the roadway drainage to not be included in this area.
And going back to that splash pad area and stuff, that would be a surface flow into that detention basin.
Correct, yeah.
Do they use any chemicals on those splash pads for, you know, to kill, and kids are out there and if it's chlorine or, you know, I'm not, I mean, I know what a splash pad is, I've seen them, but, I don't know how they're maintained, I guess.
Yeah,
is
so
the
it's-
question.
So it's my understanding that it is not, a chlorinated system,
Okay.
because that requires a different level of maintenance and permitting through Board of Health and everything, so this is purely just a, surface splash pad. It's not recirculated.
Good. I'm all set, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks.
Check, I'm all set. Jeff?
Good, thanks.
Christine?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good also, thank you.
Anyone have a comment, question? No? That's it?
Okay, so this has not already been requested to, any particular date. What are we looking for in this one?
I think, based on some of the scheduling, we will work hard to see if we can get any and all comments back in such a manner so that they can potentially close it from the 12th meeting.
All right, I'll make a motion then that we continue the hearing for 121 Lexington Road, applicant Town of Billerica, file number 191591 and BDL 1591 to May.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Nice places. Thank you.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
7:15. Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Rural for Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing. Notice of intent to continue the public hearing 906 Turnpike Building 8. And the applicant is asked to continue to the May 12th meeting.
So,
Second, in favor?
Aye.
was that Jack?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jack?
And again, Jack, 7:15. Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Bill Ricker Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, continued public hearing, Linnell Circle, applicant the Gutierrez Company, the DEP file 109-1594, BBL 1594, also request a continuance to the May 12th meeting.
So.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
7:16. Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Billerica Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetland Hearing, Notice of Intent. Continued public hearing for 290 Boston Road. DEP file 109-1587, BBL 1587. Also request a continuance to the May 28th meeting.
So
Second.
In favor?
Who got that one?
Tom.
Tom,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Let's see, previously continued, you all set with.
Yeah, so, next on the agenda, administrative matters and director's report. We have DPW, town engineer Kelly Conway here to present, Article 97 review process associated with the Yankee Doodle bike path, phase 1 in particular. This project was approved by the Conservation Commission under DEP file number 1524, BBL 1524.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, I'm Kelly Conway, town engineer. So I'm here tonight for the bike path project to request your approval regarding the proposed disposition of land protected under Article 97. Fairly late in the process for the project, it was determined that this action is necessary to move forward with the project. As Isabel mentioned, we have an order of conditions for this project already, issued July 5th, 2023. If you recall, earlier this year in March, we came before you to review with the commission under section 4F for a de minimis impact determination. Today, we're revisiting the same parcels shown here with a specific focus on both temporary construction areas, permanent easements by way of dedication required for construction, operation, and maintenance of the bike path. The permanent easement areas must be transferred from the Conservation Commission to the Select Board, and then the Conservation Commission needs to authorize the town to work within the temporary construction areas. Under Article 97, this constitutes a disposition of land, and therefore requires a unanimous vote by the commission declaring the land surplus to municipal conservation and open space needs. 2/3 vote at town meeting and 2/3 vote of the state legislature. So I'm just gonna get into, so the work itself on these 3 properties. Shown here. So the bike path, this is a parking lot near Middlesex Turnpike, and the bike path comes along here. The land primarily consists of an existing path on a former railbed. The project results in improvement to the existing path, including paving and enhanced access. The existing use is not changed. Generally, under Article 97, there's a replacement land requirement. But when there's no change in use and the disposition occurs solely between public entities, EEA has allowed us to waive the replacement land requirement. And with that, we ask the commission to approve the disposition of land and sign the Article 97 land disposition approval form. And then just wanted to mention one other item before I answer any questions. So phase 1 of this project, these 3 parcels are within phase 1. Is scheduled to be advertised for construction in July of this year. And given this schedule and given the time frame associated with the state legislature action, because we can't file the legislation until after town meeting. And from what I understand, this is my first time going through this process, but, the legislature action will take some time. We will need to come back to you again, with a license agreement between the Conservation Commission and the Select Board to give us the authority to move forward, pending the legislation approval. So we do need to secure the right-of-way certificate. We need the license agreement, sorry, to secure the right-of-way certificate to allow the, advertisement to move forward. And with that, I can try to answer any questions.
Comments, Isabel?
Not, this is a formal process that's required as part of the project occurring within conservation land. So the commission would need to sign off. Kelly, just correct me if I'm wrong, the last page. Do you need signatures of the commission today, correct?
So we added, the individual lines so that we could show that there's a unanimous vote. I'm not sure if that's needed with the de minimis. We just had the chair sign. As long as we can modify this in any way, and it doesn't have to be done tonight, we can follow up. But we can modify this anyway, the commission, sees fit as far as, for the signatures, we just need to I think document that it was a unanimous vote, hopefully it is.
Yeah, I would probably recommend typing each of the commission members' names and then having them sign above it.
Yeah,
For this type of document. No further comment, is that?
Okay. Joanne, you have any
Yeah,
questions?
I guess it's to move forward, something we have to do, so you're asking the Conservation Commission to dispose of this 4 miles, 10-foot wide path and transfer the ownership to this town of Billerica and the select board, is that what?
Yeah, so in this map might show it a little more clear. So the blue area in here is the actual path itself. So that would be the paved 10-foot path, the area that we would need typically a permanent easement. We can't grant a permanent easement to ourselves, meaning the town, so we're calling it a permanent easement via by dedication. So that's the area that we need to transfer from the Conservation Commission to the Select Board, the blue area. The yellow is more, is the temporary easement area, so it's more like the grading on the, side slopes of the path. And that would we would just need authorization of like a temporary easement to allow us to come in, do the work. Once the work is complete and we restore it to its original condition, it comes back to the commission.
So it'll be a follow-up, something, donating it, giving it back, or it just will be understood in this one?
It expires, yeah, upon completion of the job.
And you're saying paved, but I thought this was supposed to be unpaved.
Oh,
No, it's the parking lot, I believe, has some permeable paving. But the rest of the path it's a 10-foot wide path, paved path.
10 feet wide, okay.
Are you talking about the boardwalk? Oh.
No, I thought, well, I know we weren't gonna plow it and all that kind of stuff in the bedroom. So, all right, it really wasn't, whatever, yeah, okay, it isn't really clear in this that it's going to the select board.
Yeah.
For conservation purposes to the select board, but this one is clear as what you do, but, okay, thank you.
Dan?
Yeah, my concern was it wasn't the whole piece of land, it's just the bike path that's getting transferred.
Not full pass.
Not the whole parcels.
So in the submittal, we included a the town meeting article.
Oh, ACM article?
Yeah, annual town meeting,
Okay.
sorry,
That's
article. And, you know, under section 1, it talks about permanent dedication, so those are the permanent easement areas, if you will. So it's,
Okay, there it is.
60. I forget what the call was, 60,000 some odd, square feet.
There.
Which is again, the blue areas, one of them is an easement, I think that's just for the bike path itself, there's a FP9, which is, I believe that's the flood mitigation area. And then PUE 5, I believe is, it's for a utility pole relocation. There we go. So those are the permanent easements. And then all these, under number 2 is the temporary construction areas, again, which is all the yellow areas here.
And just out of curiosity, the remainder of the land for the bike path, we don't have to. We don't have to do anything like that, like this for that.
Correct, it's just these 3 parcels that the commission owns.
Okay. Good, thank you, Kelly. One second.
Kelly, the paving is 10 foot wide, correct?
Yes.
Is there a 2 foot buffer on either side of that?
There's sort of a gravel area or grass area.
But it's
2 feet.
2
and then
feet on either
down.
side,
Yep.
correct? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, 1 second.
Jeff,
Good, thank you.
Christine?
Yes, hi, what is the duration of temporary easement, basically, duration of work?
It will be through the whole construction period, so actually it'll be longer than that because we'll have to secure all the temporary easements now, even though, you know, it's scheduled to be advertised for construction, what did I say, July?
Yeah.
So we have to secure them now, so from the point we record it is when we have the right to go on the land and do the work, so even though the work may not happen till next spring. It starts till next spring, you know, by the time we secure a contractor, then we're in the middle, you know, in the winter, he may not want to start, and he may not start here either.
Yeah, usually
Uh,
5 years.
Yeah, so I think we're taking them for a period of 5 years, but I don't know if it's different for this, because we're not actually taking an easement here. We're calling it a temporary construction area.
Even temporary, either between 3 years or 5 years, depending on the timeline.
Yeah.
So this will be on the also certificate, regular certificate temporary easements, and the permanent easement.
Yes.
Interesting situation.
Well,
I'm good, thank you.
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. I am also. Do we?
Joanne has one.
Okay.
I just have one more question. They're saying that the reason we have to do this is that so you can have it for, ownership, maintenance and operations, that's what it was. Page. What, Jack just brought up a point that I think we had the shoulders on either side. Do those need to be maintained in any manner?
Probably just, you know, make sure vegetation and so forth doesn't overhang into the pathway.
There's also stormwater, riprap plan,
So I'm,
collection areas.
my point is that should this have maybe gone out more so that the town actually had responsibility for the maintenance along there too or not?
I don't think that if you measure actually the blue width, I think it incorporates all the way until the side slope comes down, okay, you know what I mean?
So it's actually one of the.
I think it's wider than 10 feet. The path itself would be 10 feet, but the blue area, I think is a little wider than that.
So
So
we're
accomplish that.
So you take up those shoulders or
Yeah.
something like that. Okay, because it's not been mentioned, we responsible for maintaining it. We don't have funds to do that, so.
That sounds like a conservation commission problem.
No, I'm sitting here looking at somebody else's problem.
Sorry.
Okay, can you just make sure on that, because before we go through all this, and we find out that the problem. She's had a long day.
She was at the board of selectmen too.
Actually, she's just. But anyhow, could you just check on that, because if not, I would hate to see that go and then,
I'll confirm that, but this has been thoroughly vetted through. You have no idea how many times between all the MassDOT divisions and the right-of-way section. I will double check it though, yeah.
yeah, but now you're in front of me, so. yeah.
Otherwise, she's volunteered Mike and myself to
Yeah.
maintain the stormwater swales
Yeah,
and the
this
bike
is
path.
it. So just, that's what I'm saying, that we just check. Please, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, check, and
Yeah,
follow up.
just, I don't know if you can answer this or not, Kelly. On the bike path committee, we've been talking about having a friends group. To maybe raise funds for markers for historical sites or whatever along the way. If we come up with, well, we will come up with the money, I'm sure, but when we do come to a historical marker, are we going to have to come back again to get an okay to put it, you know, like a sign would be fine, that would be on that 2 feet, that's why I asked about the 2 feet on either side.
Right,
But
right.
it, you know, they're talking maybe a rock or a plaque or something. Are we going to be doing this each time we come up with an idea for
I
a
mean,
historical marker?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I tried to. It's been difficult to get the bike committee to, do a lot, take any initiative on, amenities and so forth like that. So yes,
Well, it's
potentially,
self-funded, that's why we haven't done much.
No,
It's
yeah.
self-funded.
right, and I was hoping to get some of that into the project, but we kind of missed the boat on it, but technically, yes, I mean, if you want something in an area that. Where, you know, we impact something, it's under the commission's purview.
Let's go back again, okay.
Yeah,
We'll take our,
In the dark.
our approval, not going to the legislature to get a select order in, you know, all that.
yeah, good question, that's a good question.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out down the road, when we get there.
Well, Article 97,
School area.
Yeah.
going through Article 97 process, even to amend, is complicated and quite lengthy. Like the legislature review process for this is not going to be just a couple of months. So if there's anything we can ask Kelly now, like Jack, what you just said, that's probably something we wanna
Yeah. And I'm concerned
Kind
about
of
the maintenance, you know.
tweak the language a little bit to allow for memorial types.
Markers or something.
Yeah, but
But the markers are within the bike path, right?
Well, the markers could be, you know, on the fence or,
Yeah.
we were thinking maybe a post, we wanted a 4x4 post with a plaque or something on it.
Oh, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's within the blue width.
But I mean, down the road, if there's an open area, they want to put a park bench in.
yeah,
to
why
take a
couldn't
break.
the commission just approve that, because it's not changing. I mean, aside from the whole, you know,
Yeah.
wetlands review thing, that's separate, but.
Yeah, you want the property.
Yeah,
it's-
except.
it's
the
down
school
there.
area and the selectmen will-
Right.
Doesn't
We get the
properly
rest of it back.
benches in there.
Okay,
I
we'll see,
don't know,
yeah,
yeah.
just asking, you know.
But no, it's a good question.
Sean, you wanna-
Alrighty, so I make a motion, alright, so we're all set to, but we're not signing tonight, so we'll have to sign another meeting.
Well, I think, since town meeting is next week,
May first.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get this before town meeting.
we would probably like to have an official vote by the commission that you would, especially since looks like we have a full house.
Everybody
is.
You guys are
Yeah.
always good about attending meetings anyway, but everyone is here, maybe take a vote to unanimously support and approve. So you're on board with the language as shown on here?
Well, as long as Kelly clears up that, you know, that it also includes the maintenance of these areas that are along there.
Yeah, so that's why it's the permanent dedication is B-23.
So maintenance,
Okay.
just a quick question, can I ask question? Maintenance should be on, the town, recreation department or
No.
EPW?
All right, then I'll make a motion that the commission approves the proposed disposition under Article 97 for the land known as the Yankee Doodle Bike Path that's shown on the associated plan with this. That we approve the transfer, is that what it is? Or just the disposition? What is- what is that?
Wait a minute.
Okay, then should I just be like the
I would
first-
just read,
the first, I make a motion that the commission approves the disposition of the 97 land to facilitate the construction, operation, and maintenance of the Yankee Doodle Bike Path. As shown on the plan. There, date on the plan, Kelly? The date on that plan?
I don't see it.
There's something way up in that corner there. What does it say, Kelly?
Well, the plan isn't gonna be included with the article nor the, these are the easement area, you'll need, no, it says, pretty sure you'll need to.
There is, what's the side, this little thing, usually date is printed on the side?
All right.
So June,
That-
January
that's on the
31st.
first one.
The Article 97 legislature will need the actual, they'll need a plan.
There's something up in that corner. There's not a date on that.
Printed on January 31st, 2025 at 10:52
Can you just
a.m.
refer to the
Can you
first
see them?
preliminary right of way plan?
Kelly, there's something way up in the corner of that plan.
Yeah, but this is just my presentation plan.
Oh.
It's not the right of way plan, the official right of way plan.
It's like,
All right, then I guess I'll,
they have to say.
okay. So we'll make
Can
a,
you word it as to most recent submitted approved plan?
Approved right of way plan would be probably the best.
Also add the permanent dedication areas was in the temporary construction area.
Latest and greatest.
Yeah, because that has
Each one individually,
Yeah.
and the square footages.
yeah.
so there's gonna be a plan that goes to town meeting showing this, I take it. Okay, all right,
In Article 97.
okay. All right, good, let's try it again. It's my first time.
Let's just word it, whatever Kelly needs us to do, we approve it.
I would make a motion that the commission approve the proposed disposition of Article 97 land to facilitate the construction, operation, and maintenance of the Yankee Doodle Path, which will include the permanent dedications of, did I list all those? E-23, 55,089 square feet, FP-9, 6,308 square feet, PUE 5, 104 square feet, and the temporary construction areas. TCA 1, 12,110 square feet, TCA 2, 985 square feet, TCA 3, 17,362 square feet, TC 4, 5,784 square feet, TC 5, 3,904 square feet, TC 6, 156 square feet, TC 7, 3,208 square feet, TCA 8, 659 square feet, TCA 9, 699 square feet, and TCA 10, 2,471 square feet.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
In the middle, in the middle.
I'll second that.
And a people in vertical.
All in favor?
Yeah. Sorry.
That was very good.
Thank you, everybody.
Jack, did you
Well
second that?
done.
Good job.
Did you second that?
Yeah, no. Second.
Diane seconded.
Diane did it. Yeah.
Yeah, Kelly.
You just repeat that, please.
TCA, now you can add this to your resume.
Yeah.
So now you're an expert on this position.
She's like, I'm leaving. Look at her. She's like, I'm done talking. I'm out.
Thanks, guys.
Kelly,
Have a
what's
good night,
your
Kelly.
line?
Go play with the dog.
Good night, Kathy.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
Isabel.
What she's saying is just renewing the, this is
Isabel miscellaneous update.
Yeah, miscellaneous update, so, I did forward the commission, an email, just earlier today, some of you may not have had the opportunity to see it, but it's related to you may recall, remember the fuel tank spill that occurred on November 2023 off of Route 3. We've been, working with the consultant has been working with the private landowners and various state agencies involved, to do some monitoring. Initially, it was basically some, emergency response abatement work, where they set up just some soft booms along the stream systems there to collect any obvious contaminant, and then that's moved on to surface water sampling. And right now, they are just tracking any plumes or anything, and they need to install 3 monitoring wells. They're going to use the existing DCR trail that's out there. I submitted a picture of the small rig that they use, and this is not like one of the big drilling borings rigs that we see for borings that you may see in the roadway and other big projects for geotech subsurface investigations. These are just monitoring wells that they need to install right at the edge of the DCR trail system. So it's fantastic, easy access, no tree clearing or vegetation alteration. They're coordinating with DCR and have already received approval for that, for access and to install those wells. And the other state agency is Fisheries and Wildlife, specifically Natural Heritage, because that whole area, the wetland system and forested area, is mapped rare and endangered or estimated priority habitat. So Natural Heritage is working with them as well, and just allowing to proceed with the work after May 15, given the resource areas associated with that forested system, meaning vernal pool type stuff. So I administratively approved that work, and it's considered minor exempt activity in the riverfront area and buffer zone, provided it's not located within any other wetland resource area, such as vegetated wetland, bank, for example, land on the water. Again, easily accessible right at the edge of the BCR trail, and we'll do a site walk as well. And I went ahead and included some standard conditions you would see in some of your orders, which is whoever's on site, contractor needs to maintain the spill containment kit along the way. Any development water or anything, any other materials associated with well installation needs to be properly collected and disposed of off-site. They will contact us to conduct a site visit again. Those are basically the key conditions, and that they continue to, they can proceed with the work pending all other approvals from Division of Fisheries and Wildlife and DCR. Just want to keep you in the loop. Okay. We went ahead and did that, given the scope of work, relatively minor, no impacts, easy access. Just keeping you in the loop in case you receive any inquiries from the public.
Do you want any kind of motion from the board approving your actions?
No, I kind of already did based on this, and I'm keeping you in the loop.
Okay.
Sorry, it's time sensitive, and we don't want to hold up the work, but it's MCP related too. There's a ton of oversight on it. Thank you. And moving on, yes, so we will be coordinating together, Diane, to wrap up some minutes. Okay.
Yeah,
You're not trying to, that's fine, that's-
you don't have anything else going on, you know.
No minutes.
No minutes.
We're all set.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
7:45.
That was
No.
Jeff and Jack,
Jeff and Jack,
yep.
The Jays.
okay.
I like